that there are certain contributing factors that lead to autism.
Their 16-year-old son died nearly 4 years ago.
Can you imagine what it feels like to be a successful actor's son and not be able to enjoy privileges like following them to movie premieres or any of such things? That is the sad story of Jett Travolta, the son of renowned actors John Travolta and Kelly Preston. Jett was born like every other kid, but he was diagnosed with autism and other health conditions that limited his lifestyle and prevented him from reaching his potential. In this video, we will talk about Jett, his parents, and how he lived through his rather short life. Jett Travolta's early life. Jett Travolta is the eldest son of Hollywood stars John Travolta and Kelly Preston. He was born on the 13th of April, 1992. His birth brought immense joy to his parents, John Travolta and Kelly Preston, who had gotten married a year before. To the horror of his famous parents, Jett started to display signs of developmental challenges from an early age. Around the age of 2, he was diagnosed with Kawasaki disease, a rare condition that causes inflammation in the blood vessels. This diagnosis worried his parents, as the disease could lead to long-term complications. Money wasn't the problem, so they took him to many hospitals where a specialist examined him. Over time, they noticed additional struggles with his development. According to reports from People magazine, Jett's diagnosis of autism came a few years later. However, the family did not initially disclose this to the public. Kelly Preston later revealed in interviews that Jett's autism stemmed partly from complications of Kawasaki disease and other environmental factors. She spoke passionately about how they did everything possible to provide him with a supportive and loving environment. In an interview with Good Morning America, her mother, Kelly Preston, said, "Jett was everything to us. He was the most wonderful son, and his love was pure and unconditional."
And he had seizures. And when he was very young, he had Kawasaki syndrome, which is something that is not very familiar, but it's...
You see, Jett had such a vibrant personality despite his problems that one might be unable to tell he had any challenges. He was raised as a kind and curious child with a strong bond with his parents and siblings. Also, he enjoyed spending time with his family, traveling, and engaging in activities that brought him joy. His parents worked hard to ensure that he felt supported and valued. And how did they manage this, you should ask? His parents often took him on family vacations to places like the Bahamas. So yes, he might have health challenges, but he had some of the best care and support anyone could ask for. Truly, his parents faced societal pressures and stigma surrounding autism. You might not get it, but a picture has been placed publicly because your kid is acting weird or out of character. It must have been hard. For years, they chose to keep Jett's condition private, fearing judgment from the public and media. As members of the Scientology Church, they were also subject to scrutiny due to the church's controversial stance on certain medical conditions and treatments. In an interview with the Daily Beast, John Travolta explained that they wanted to protect their son from the intense public gaze. He said, "We were private because we wanted him to have as normal a life as possible." Even though Jett's condition was challenging, his early years were filled with love and care. His parents worked tirelessly to create a safe environment by shielding him from unnecessary stress and providing him with the needed resources. Before discussing Jett, check out his parents and their love life. John Travolta and Kelly Preston's love life. John Travolta and Kelly Preston's love story began in 1989. They met while working on The Experts film in 1987. However, their relationship didn't become romantic until a few years later. According to People magazine, the couple reconnected in 1991, and their bond quickly grew stronger. The couple simply couldn't get enough of each other. In an interview with Entertainment Weekly, John once said, "We just feel blessed to be together. I can't think of a day that hasn't been special to her."
Test for a movie called The Experts many years ago.
Right.
Yeah. And, oh
And
no.
look at this footage.
Oh my God.
By September 1991, John and Kelly were married in a private ceremony in Paris. The wedding was a small one and attended by close friends and family. At the time, both John and Kelly were already successful actors, but anyone with two eyes could tell their relationship was more than just a Hollywood romance. It was built on mutual respect and affection. John had become a star after his roles in Saturday Night Fever and Grease, while Kelly was known for her roles in movies like Jerry Maguire. Life as the son of Hollywood stars. Growing up as the son of Hollywood legends John Travolta and Kelly Preston meant that Jett Travolta's life was under constant public gaze. While many might imagine the life of a celebrity child to be glamorous, for Jett, it came with its unique challenges, especially as he managed his autism. From a young age, Jett faced difficulties amplified by the public eye. His parents worked tirelessly to protect him. They ensured he was not stared at when they went out in public. Naturally, people and the media would be curious and may want to ask questions. Nonetheless, this was discouraged too. In an interview with Good Morning America, Kelly Preston once said, "It's a blessing and a challenge to raise a child with special needs, especially when the whole world is watching. Parenting is hard enough, but as anyone would expect, Jett's autism presented hurdles that made everyday life more complicated. He struggled with sensory sensitivities and required a structured and supportive environment to thrive. Being part of such a famous family often attracted attention, whether the family was out in public or vacationing. The media only thrived on sourcing for exclusive stories that frequently speculated about Jett's condition before his autism was publicly disclosed. Despite these challenges, the couple was committed to providing Jett with a life that was as normal as possible. One of the things they did was to maintain a balance between living in the public eye and preserving their family's privacy. Jett's parents were cautious about exposing him to situations that might cause him distress and chose to focus on creating a safe, loving environment for him. In truth, many parents are battling such difficulty with their children. However, Jett's parents are unlike others who could keep their family situation under wraps. Kelly and John are famous. With fame comes many benefits, but it also has demerits, like people you have no business with sniffing for your life story. Jett's mother, Kelly Preston, was outspoken about her role as a mother and her dedication to Jett's well-being. She described herself as Jett's greatest advocate in an interview with People magazine. She stresses the importance of patience, understanding, and creating a structured environment catering to his needs. In addition, she talked about how they adapted their parenting to help Jett manage his challenges. Some of the things they did included providing him with sensory-friendly spaces that could engage him in activities he so much enjoyed. With somebody with such a disadvantage, the most they could do was ensure he felt loved unconditionally. Kelly once shared with the Daily Mail, "Jett loved the water. He was happiest when swimming, and we made sure to include activities like that in his life as much as possible." At this point, you wonder what his father was doing the whole time. Perhaps he abandoned his son. The simple answer is no, he never did. As a world-renowned actor, John Travolta had to juggle his career with his responsibilities as a father. He often turned down roles or altered his filming schedules to spend more time with his family. In interviews, Travolta spoke sincerely about how fatherhood transformed him, especially as he dealt with the challenges of raising his first child, who has autism. In an interview with Esquire, Travolta said, "Family always comes first. I've been fortunate to have a career that allows me to prioritize my children, and I wouldn't have it any other way." He talked about how being present for Jett's improvements, no matter how little, was more important to him than any professional achievement. More than being there for him and fulfilling their roles as parents, Travolta tried to get their son all the help they could. They employed therapists and specialists to assist with his care and development. They also carefully chose their vacation destinations by opting for secluded locations to ensure Jett could enjoy himself without being overwhelmed by large crowds or media intrusion. In a nutshell, both parents were deeply involved in Jett's life. They created a bond that was evident to everyone around them. Family friends described the Travoltas as hands-on parents who were deeply committed to their children's happiness. In an interview, Kelly Preston said, "We wanted to give Jett every opportunity to thrive, and that meant creating a world where he felt safe, supported, and loved." Health challenges and tragic loss. Throughout his life, Jett Travolta faced considerable health issues. From his diagnosis of Kawasaki disease as a young child to being on the autism spectrum, life was almost unbearable for him and his family. Even if they don't complain in public and try to smile it away, nothing can be compared with having a healthy child. This rare condition, which causes inflammation of the blood vessels, raised concerns for his overall health and development. Kawasaki disease has been associated with potential long-term complications, including increased risks of seizures, which Jett experienced later in life. Jett's parents, John Travolta and Kelly Preston, worked tirelessly to ensure he had the best care possible. Like I said earlier, they made it a priority to create joyful moments for him. The family always embarked on vacations, during which they got to relax away from the public eye. The most frequent place they visited was the Bahamas. They said it was a destination where Jett could enjoy one of his favorite activities, swimming. In an interview with People magazine, Kelly Preston said, "The Bahamas was Jett's happy place. He loved the water and was always at peace there. Somebody might say this is not a big deal. After all, they had the money." This is true, but they could have driven him to a care home and focused on their other healthy children. Many actors at the peak of their careers, like the Travoltas, would have a hard time altering their careers to cater to a child whose healing was not in sight. If anything, Kelly and John should be given accolades for standing by their child, even though his ailment was nobody's fault. The Travolta family's trip to the Bahamas in December 2008 was meant to be another cherished holiday. However, it ended in tragedy. On the morning of January 2nd, 2009, Jett suffered a fatal seizure at their vacation home in the Old Bahama Bay Resort on Grand Bahama Island. He was found unconscious in the bathroom by a caretaker and was rushed to Rand Memorial Hospital, where he was pronounced dead. At the time, Jett was only 16 years old. According to the family, Jett had a history of seizures, which were linked to his autism and earlier health complications. The specific seizure that led to his death was described as severe, resulting in him hitting his head on the bathtub. The news of Jett Travolta's death shocked the world, especially their fans and friends, who knew how much they loved the teenager. Well-wishers flooded social media and news outlets with condolences and expressions of sympathy. Fellow celebrities, including Oprah Winfrey and Tom Cruise, offered their support during this unimaginably difficult time. In a statement where they expressed their heartbreak over his untimely passing with the press, John Travolta and Kelly Preston described their son as the most wonderful and loving boy.
With an illness, a chronic illness in the family, I'm not sure how.
However, the tragedy also attracted intense media eyeballs. Speculations arose about the circumstances surrounding Jett's health and the family's decision-making. Some media outlets criticized the Travoltas' initial reluctance to publicly acknowledge Jett's autism diagnosis, questioning whether it may have impacted his care. The criticism extended to the family's association with Scientology. The church's controversial views on medical treatment raised questions about whether the Travoltas had been able to access appropriate care for Jett. The family, already grieving, faced relentless attention from the press. Impact of Jett's death on the Travolta family. The loss of Jett Travolta profoundly affected the Travolta family. It was like a third-degree fire burn that would certainly take a while to heal, with the scar never going away. This time, the scar is not on their skin. It's deeply entrenched in their minds. For John Travolta and Kelly Preston, Jett's passing was not just the loss of a son, but the loss of the light and joy he brought to their family. Both parents have spoken about how deeply they grieved and the long journey it took to find healing. John Travolta has been open about his grief and how Jett's death changed him forever. In an interview with Esquire, he described the period following Jett's passing as the darkest time of his life. The truth is, you never really get over something like that. You just learn to live with it. Travolta also spoke about how he leaned on his faith, family, and close friends to deal with his immense pain. Travolta credited his daughter, Ella Bleu, and his younger son, Benjamin, for helping him find a reason to move forward. He described Benjamin as a new beginning, a symbol of hope for the family during a time of tremendous sorrow. Kelly Preston, too, found solace in her family and advocacy work. She spoke in interviews about how she kept Jett's memory alive by celebrating his life rather than focusing solely on his loss. Preston said in an interview with People magazine, "Jett was a beautiful soul, and he taught us so much about unconditional love." Preston found healing by supporting autism and seizure awareness efforts through the Jett Travolta Foundation, a charity established in Jett's honor. The foundation supports organizations that assist children with special needs, particularly those affected by autism and related conditions. Jett's death also had a deep impact on his siblings, Ella Bleu and Benjamin. Ella, who was just 8 years old, grew up quickly as she comforted her grieving parents. In interviews, she describes her brother as a loving and kind soul who often shares memories of their time. Benjamin, born almost 2 years after Jett's death, became a sort of replacement for the family. While he never met Jett, the couple made it a point to ensure Benjamin knows about his older brother and the joy he brought to their lives. Following Jett's passing, the Travolta family became vocal advocates for autism and seizure disorder awareness. The Jett Travolta Foundation has funded numerous organizations, including education programs for children with developmental delays and medical research into autism and epilepsy. John Travolta has used his platform as a Hollywood star to promote understanding and compassion for families dealing with similar challenges. In a heartfelt speech at a foundation event, he said, "We hope that Jett's life will help others. His life had meaning, and his memory will continue to inspire us to make a difference." In the years following Jett's passing, John Travolta and Kelly Preston became vocal advocates for autism awareness. They established the Jett Travolta Foundation, a charitable organization dedicated to helping children with special needs. The foundation supports various programs and initiatives on autism, education, and healthcare. More ordeal after tragic loss. A few weeks after the tragic death of their son, Jett, actor John Travolta testified in a Bahamian court during an extortion trial that he faced a $25 million demand to prevent stories from being sold to the media, implying that his son's death was intentional and that he was to blame. This alleged threat came just 2 weeks after 16-year-old Jett passed away. Travolta revealed that on the 16th of January, 2009, longtime friend and employee Ronald Zupancic informed him of the alleged demand. It's worth knowing that who initially passed the threat to Zupancic wasn't clear. However, two people, former paramedic Torino Lightbourne and former Bahamian Senator Pleasant Bridgewater, were charged with conspiracy and attempting to extort money from Travolta. John Travolta, the father of the deceased, testified that he had tried desperately to save Jett when he was found unresponsive on the bathroom floor of their vacation home at Old Bahama Bay Resort. Travolta said he performed mouth-to-mouth resuscitation, while another resort guest assisted with chest compressions and used a defibrillator. Despite their efforts, Jett could not be revived. If you are wondering what led to the baseless accusation, especially after losing his son, the extortion attempt was tied to a medical liability release form that Travolta signed during the emergency. The document released medical personnel from any responsibility for Jett's death. In response, Travolta explained that he signed it because he wanted to take Jett to Florida for treatment rather than sending him to a Bahamian hospital. Travolta stated that he and his wife, actress Kelly Preston, were told the release form would be sold to news outlets if they did not pay a whopping $25 million. Stories would allegedly be generated from the document, suggesting that his parents wanted him dead. How terrible can humans be? They didn't even allow the family to grieve properly or process the death of their loved one. When asked about the nature of the potential media stories, Travolta responded, "Stories that would imply the death of my son was intentional, and I was culpable in some way." Travolta noted that he had never personally received direct threats or demands from Lightbourne or Bridgewater, nor did he know either of them. Lightbourne, however, was one of the paramedics present when Jett passed away and had been terminated from his job for discussing the incident with journalists. Serves him right. According to testimony from Travolta's Bahamian attorney, Allison Maynard Gibson, Bridgewater claimed to represent Lightbourne. Maynard Gibson testified that Bridgewater showed her a copy of the release form and said she wanted Travolta to have the first opportunity to purchase the original document, as several media outlets were allegedly interested in it. Travolta testified that upon learning of the threat, he instructed Zupancic to investigate the situation and later consulted with his attorney. With Travolta's permission, the matter was reported to Bahamian authorities, and Lightbourne and Bridgewater were subsequently taken into custody. Kelly Preston's move after son's death. Kelly Preston, the mother of Jett, had been talking about his son's plight before his death. However, after his demise, she began a full-blown advocacy where she talked about his condition, what she perceived was the cause, and how to avoid such cases to the best of her knowledge. It was like she got a new burst of energy she never had before. Whenever she spoke in interviews and public forums, she talked about the importance of raising awareness about environmental and chemical factors that could harm children's development before and after birth. Kelly shared her concerns about the role of cleaning chemicals in contributing to Jett's health problems, particularly his autism. She believed regular exposure to certain cleaning products, such as carpet and rug cleaners, could have been a factor. According to Kelly, these products often contain strong chemicals that can release harmful fumes, which might harm children's developing bodies and brains. Also, she pointed to medications she had taken during her pregnancy with Jett as a potential factor. She specifically mentioned that she had taken certain medications around the 5-month mark of her pregnancy, which she later suspected could have impacted Jett's health. Although she did not specify the exact medications, her comments show her concern about the potential side effects of pharmaceuticals on fetal development. One of Kelly's key advocacy points was urging chemical companies to provide clear and detailed information about the components of their products. She believed that parents, especially expectant mothers, should have access to transparent labeling to make informed decisions about what they use in their homes. Preston argued that better awareness and understanding of potentially harmful chemicals could help parents minimize risks to their children's health. To further support children's health, Preston advocated for the use of organic products and foods. She doubled the importance of reducing exposure to artificial chemicals, preservatives, and additives often found in non-organic products. She encouraged parents to choose natural alternatives wherever possible, from cleaning supplies to the food they consume. Kelly believed these changes could significantly improve unborn babies and children's health and well-being. What Jett Travolta would have been today. Today, in 2024, Jett Travolta would have been 32 if he had not tragically passed away in 2009. Given the emphasis his family placed on advocating for autism awareness and supporting children with special needs, it's likely that Jett could have become a strong advocate for those with autism. Since his parents, John Travolta and Kelly Preston, were outspoken in their support for autism research and acceptance, it's plausible that Jett, who lived with the condition, would have joined the cause. Right now, he might have been involved in charitable organizations focused on improving the lives of children with autism, perhaps even starting his foundation, or joining forces with existing organizations. With his famous parents and their support, Jett could have pursued a career in the public eye, perhaps following in his father's footsteps as an actor or pursuing another form of entertainment, like music or even behind-the-scenes work in the film industry. Given his parents' Hollywood ties, it's not impossible that Jett, with his unique experiences and background, could have been involved in projects that raise awareness about autism or special needs, using his platform to educate the public and influence change. Also, Jett's parents, particularly Kelly Preston, were advocates for healthier, more organic living. It's possible that had he lived, he might have taken on a role in health and wellness advocacy, perhaps promoting healthier lifestyles, advocating for better food choices, or even working on initiatives related to autism and its connection to diet and environmental factors. His family's focus on organic foods and natural living might have inspired Jett to pursue a health, wellness, or environmental activism career to further the mission his mother had championed. If he had lived, Jett would likely have begun building a life for himself as an adult with relationships and a growing sense of independence. While he faced challenges related to autism and seizures, his family would likely have continued to provide the love and support necessary for him to lead a fulfilling life. He may have had close friendships, worked in some capacity, and developed more independence as he grew older, possibly with the help of specialized support. But now, he is no more. Everything great he could have turned out to be will only remain in the confines of his family's mind, and that will no doubt be painful. What do you think about Jett Travolta? Would he have lived up to today if he had not died in that tragic accident 16 years ago? Let me know what you think in the comment section below. If you enjoy this video, you should like, share, and subscribe to this channel for more.